Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhashta Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you all for our Harinam Chintamani class. So last week we couldn't have the session. I was traveling out. So we have begun the 7th chapter of this book. The chapter is entitled Criticizing the Vedic Scriptures, Shruti Shastra Ninda. So we did 2 sessions and I think we reached till verse number 29. So we'll just do like a quick recap and then start for today. So this chapter begins with Haridas Thakur explaining the 4th offense. So this is chapter 7, but it is offense 4, blaspheming the Vedic literatures. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains here. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains here that how all the Shastras, the Shruti Shastra, the Vedas, Upanishads, Purans, they are all emanating from the breathing of Krishna. So therefore, what is beyond this world, to understand the truth beyond this world about Krishna, about the spiritual world, it is the only way to understand is through scriptures, Shabda Praman. So he explains that there are 3 ways of gaining knowledge. Prathaksha Praman, Anuman Praman and Shabda Praman. But Pratyaksha Praman, the knowledge that we gain through our senses, human knowledge has 4 defects. Imperfect senses, we commit mistakes, tendency to cheat, and the senses undergo illusions. So therefore, knowledge that we gain through the senses is not a perfect way to understand God. The only way to understand God is through the Vedas, because the Vedas are free from these 4 defects. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that how that Supreme Lord Krishna, being very merciful to all of us, because we are all imprisoned by Maya, we are all in this material world, to give all of us a clue, the path how to get out of this world, he gives the Vedas, Puran and the various scriptures. And then he explains that in the Vedas, there are 10 truths. It's called Dashamula Tattva. And this 10 truths has 9 teachings. So the first of, so these are 10 root truths, Dashamula Tattva. Mula means root. So these are 10 very, very important teachings of the Vedas. The first teaching is that the words of the Vedas are the best evidence. Pramana se Veda Vakya Nayati Prameya. The first truth is to understand that Vedas is the only way to understand God. The best evidence, the best type of knowledge of God is through the Vedas. Now, what the Vedas explain are 9 teachings. And these 9 teachings are divided into 3 sections. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. Sambandha means relationship between the Atma and Paramatma, between God and the living entities. Abhideya is what is the activity of that relation. That is Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. And then Prayojan is the soul's true need. We discussed this also, that this is our true need to love God. Prayojan. We are all looking for love for God. And that prayojan is achieved if we follow the process of Abhideya. So then he continues to explain these 9 teachings, which are divided into 3 sections: Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. The first of the 9 truths of the Vedas: Hari Ek Paratattva. Lord Krishna is the one supreme truth. This is the first teaching of the Vedas. Hari Ek Paratattva. There is no two truths. There is only one supreme God. Ishvara Parama Krishna. There is only one God, that is Krishna. His complexion is dark in color. And the second truth is Tini Sarva Shaktiman. Krishna is that one truth, but he is also the master of all potencies. Sarva Shaktiman. Parasya Shaktir. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. God has many energies and is the master of all energies. Correct? So this is the second truth, second teaching of the Vedas. And the third is Tini Rasa Murti. He is not only the greatest, but he is also the sweetest. So God has both these aspects in him. He is very powerful, he is very great with a lot of energies, but he is also the most sweet. And of the two, the sweetness aspect is actually greater than the greatness aspect. So the Vrajavasis, the devotees of Krishna and Vrindavan, they are like beyond this greatness aspect of God. They already understand that Krishna is that supreme Lord, but they have reached that stage of understanding Krishna to be Akila Rasamrita Murti, the embodiment of all rasa. So these are the first 3 teachings, and these 3 teachings are in relation to God, right? The supreme truth, Krishna is the supreme truth. Second, he possesses all potencies. And third, his form is sweet like nectar. Tini Rasamurti, Akila Rasamrita Murti. He is the embodiment of all nectar. The fourth teaching is Jiva Tattva, the truth about individual spirit souls. So this is the fourth teaching. The first 3 teachings refer to God. The fourth teaching refers to individual living entity. And the fifth and the sixth teaching refer to the individual living entity who are eternally conditioned, Nitya Baddha, and eternally liberated. So there are 3 kinds of living entities. Sorry, 2 kinds of living entities. Conditioned souls and liberated souls. And who are conditioned souls? He explains here. Those who have turned their face away from Krishna, those who have surrendered to Maya and who are suffering in this world, they are conditioned souls. And who are liberated souls? Nitya Mukta Krishna Bhaji Krishna Parishad. They worship Krishna. The conditioned souls worship Maya, but the liberated souls worship Krishna. And they enjoy with Krishna in the spiritual world, and they possess a great treasure. And what is the treasure? Premera Sampada. They possess the treasure of love of God. So these 3 teachings, 4th, 5th, and 6th, refer to living entities. The 7th teaching is called Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. So we living entities, we are one with God, yet different from God. We are qualitatively one, but then quantitatively different, right? So that's what is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, that the living entities are one and different from that Supreme Lord. And then he explains the 8th teaching. 8th teaching is Abhideya. So the first 7 teachings, it's a little technical, but I hope you all will get it. So the first 7 teachings refer to Sambandha. What is Sambandha? Relationship between God and the living entities. Who is Krishna and who are the living entities? So out of the 7 teachings, the first 3 are in relation with Krishna. Krishna is that one supreme truth, the first teaching. Second is, he is the possessor of all potencies. Third is, he he possesses all sweetness in him. He possesses all nectar in him. The fourth teaching is that there is another category called Jiva Tattva. The first category was Vishnu Tattva. The second category is Jiva Tattva. This is the fourth teaching. The fifth and sixth teaching refers to two categories of living entities, Nitya Baddha and Nitya Mukta. Right? So these 7 teachings fall under the category of Sambandha, right? Relationship between individual soul and the Supreme Lord. The 8th teaching is Abhideya. And what is Abhideya? Navvida Bhakti, the 9 limbs of devotional service. Shravana, Kirtana, Smriti, Pujana, Vandana, Paricharya, Dasya, Sakya, Atma Nivedana. So these are the 9 limbs of devotional service. Hearing about God, chanting the names of God, chanting the Katha of God, remembering God, worshipping God, offering prayers, serving, becoming a friend of God, and surrendering completely. So these are the 9 limbs of devotional service. And of all these 9, Bhaktira Prakara Madhye Nama Sarvasar. Of all these 9 limbs of devotional service, the topmost is chanting the names of God. That is the topmost. So these are the 8 teachings. The 8th teaching refers to Abhideya. And the 9th teaching refers to Prayojan. And what is Prayojan? Prayojan is Krishna Prema. Prayojan Krishna Prema. So we are all aiming to achieve pure love for Krishna. Unalloyed pure love. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains here, Shuddha Bhakti Samashraya Kariya Manava Krishna Kripa Bale Paya Premera Vaibhava. When a human being takes shelter of pure devotional service, Shuddha Bhakti Samashraya Kariya Manava. So as human beings, when we achieve this rare fortune, Brahmande Brahmite Konu Bhagyavan Jeev, when we achieve this fortune of pure bhakti, and when we take shelter of it, taking shelter means trying to follow this process very sincerely. If you do this, what will happen? Krishna Kripa Bale Pai Premeda Vaibhava. By the mercy of Krishna, when Krishna sees our effort, just 1 minute, huh? So when Krishna sees our effort, then Krishna shows us mercy, Krishna Kripa. And then when we achieve the mercy of Krishna, then we can achieve pure love for that Supreme Lord. And that is the perfection of life. So we have to practice bhakti sincerely till we experience this fruit, the fruit of love of God. I think we discussed till this point. So we will continue from here on. Before we continue, anyone has any questions, any comments? Because this is a little technical subject matter. So before we continue, any questions, any comments at this point? You all can raise your hand if you all have. Yes, Raghunathan Bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Here we are discussing Achinta Vedan, Achinta Vedanam Veda Tattva. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. Now, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to us. Before that, we have Advaita, Advaita, and Vishishta Advaita. Can you briefly tell me about the Vishishta Advaita, if you can? Because it's not a part of the topic, but I was eager to know that if you can. Otherwise, we can always discuss later.
Yeah, I'll tell you whatever little I know. Vishishta Advaita, Advaita means oneness. Vishishta Advaita means variety in oneness. So in the spiritual world, there is oneness, everything is spirit there, but even in that oneness, even in that spirit, there is variety. That is called Vishishta Advaita. Now, variety in oneness. It's like that. So basically, any example? Yeah, the example is basically in the spiritual world, there are trees there are plants, there are animals, there are so many things there. Everything in one sense is Brahman, everything is spirit there. There is no matter. So in that sense, everything is one, but still there is variety in it. There is variety in oneness. Like Srila Prabhupada would give this example. Generally, the Mayavadis, they have this example that all the rivers ultimately meet into the ocean. So they gave this example saying that ultimately everyone will lose their existence. Just 1 minute. So they give this example that ultimately everyone will lose their existence and just merge into that the ocean of Brahman. But Srila Prabhupada gives us example that yes, this is a good example that the rivers merge into the ocean. But in the rivers, there are living entities. There are fishes who also enter from the river into the ocean, but they don't lose their existence. They maintain their existence. They are one with the ocean in one sense, but there is variety also. So similarly, in this world, it may appear that everything is one. Just like you see a mountain from very far, it may appear one green thing, one green entity. But when you go in, you will see so much variety even in that greenery. Even the trees, the leaves of all the trees are green. But there is variety in it also, na? There's a lot of variety in it. Just like now, when new people come to ISKCON, especially when they see brahmacharis, it takes some time. Initially, they think that all brahmacharis are the same only, because everyone is shaven headed, everyone is in saffron. So they think that everything is one. But slowly they understand that, in one sense, there is oneness, all are in the same dress, same hairstyle, but still there is so much variety in it. So that is called Vishishta Advaita. Is this okay, Prabhuji? My little understanding.
Yeah. And Dvaita means I am different from the Lord. I'm different from the Lord.
Yeah.
God is different, I am different.
I am different, yeah.
And the Advaita is God and me are same.
Same. No difference.
And Advaita means even though we are same, there is a difference.
There is variety. There is variety.
There is a variety.
Yeah.
And in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy,
it is
we are one in one sense, qualitatively we are one, quantitatively are different.
Yes, oneness and difference. Philosophy of oneness and difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So anything else?
Sorry for the...
No, absolutely okay, bro. Any other questions, comments? Yeah. Yes, Mataji. You can unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I have heard that His Holiness Bhaktirasamrat Maharaj saying Shishtakshtakam is also there are Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. That is there any similarity in that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikshashtakam and this Haridas Thakur's this preaching, this thing?
No, see, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikshashtakam, Sambandha Abhideya, it's not Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. It is more of the 9 stages of bhakti. The 9 stages of bhakti, from Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya till Krishna Prem. So that is more clearly mentioned in Shikshashtakam, right? So that's my understanding of the 9 stages of bhakti mentioned there. But I'm not very sure. Which shlokas are related to Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan.
Yeah, I think I don't remember it now clearly, but the last one, that Ashlishya Vapadarata, that is Prayojana.
Prayojan, okay.
And in between 6 are Abhideya. First one is
Sambandha.
Yeah.
In one sense, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Paramdala bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana is Bhagavad Gita is there, Prabhu, 10.8, 9, 10.
Correct, yeah. 10.8 is
Trisloki Bhagavad Gita.
Chatushloki. Yeah. 10.8 is Sambandha.
9 is Avideya. 10
Abhideya.
is Prayojana.
Yeah. 10, 11. Chatushloki is 10, 11.
10, 11 is Jnana, about Jnana.
Yeah, actually, similarly, there is Chatushloki Bhagavatam also. Even in the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, you will find Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. Yeah. So, in one sense, yeah, the entire Vedic literatures, you can connect the shlokas. So each shloka you could connect, saying that this refers to Sambandha, this refers to Abhideya Prayojan, like that. Yeah. So thank you for bringing out those points. So should we continue? Hope there are no confusions, and hope you all are able to understand. So we'll continue from this point. Okay. A Shruti Shiksha Ninda Aparad. To criticize these teachings of the scriptures is an offense. A Nava Prameya Shruti Karena Praman. Shruti Tattva Abhigya Guru Karena Sandan. The Vedic scriptures teach these 9 truths. A spiritual master is learned in the truths of the scriptures. So the Vedic scriptures basically teach this 9 teachings. And any bona fide guru knows these 9 teachings. Ehena Shrutira Ekare Vinindana Nama Aparadi Sai Naradama Jana. Anyone who criticizes the Vedic scriptures is an offender to the holy name. He is the lowest of men. So anyone who criticizes the Vedas, he is offending the holy name. Why? Because ultimately we saw the essence of all the Vedas is Nam only, Harinam. Correct. Abhideya process, the 9 limbs of devotional service, the topmost is the holy name. And every scripture, whether it is Gita, the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, any scripture basically glorifies the holy name. The last verse of the Vedanta Sutra is Anavrati Shabdat. One can attain liberation by the holy names of God. So if you criticize the Vedic scriptures, that means you're criticizing the holy name, and such a person is Naradhama, the lowest of mankind. The philosophies that oppose Vedas. So these 9 teachings are the 9 teachings of the Vedas. Correct? You all can go back and refer to the 9 teachings. Now, there are certain philosophies which go in the name of people think that these are Vedic philosophies. But here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, these are not Vedic philosophies. These are Veda Viruddha Vada Samuha. These are philosophies opposing the Vedas. So one should be very particular. One should not think that any philosophy you follow, ultimately you're following the Vedas. You have to be very clear what you're doing. So what are the philosophies that oppose Vedas? Jaimini, Kapila, Nagna, Nastika, Sugata, Gautama, Chaya Jana Hetu, Vade Rata. Jaimini, Pseudo Kapila. This is not Kapil Dev that comes in the Bhagavatam. There is another Kapil Dev who was almost like an atheist. Jaimini, Pseudo Kapila, Nagna, Nastika, Sugata, and Gautama are the 6 famous speculative thinkers. Mind you, these are all rishis. These are all munis. But their philosophy is not in line with the Vedas. So just because someone is speaking Sanskrit and if someone is proposing a certain theory, doesn't mean that it's great. You don't get impressed by anyone who speaks something and uses some word jugglery and tries to convince you. No. These are great thinkers. They are munis. They are great thinkers, but they are all speculative thinkers. You know what is speculation? Speculation means Anuman Praman. They are just speculating. Probably this is correct, that is correct. But all their speculation is wrong. Ved mane muke tabu isha nahi mane karmakand shreshta bali jaimini bhakane. So these are the 6 philosophies. Jaimini is the first philosopher. In discussing philosophy, they make no mention of God. So Vedic philosophy, what is the first teaching of the Vedas? The first teaching of the Vedas is Hari Ek Paratattva. This is the first teaching of the Vedas, the basic teaching. Hari Ek Paratattva. Krishna, that Supreme Lord, is that only truth. But these 6 philosophers, Jaimini, Pseudo Kapila, Nagna, Nastika, Sugata, Gautama, they have 6 kinds of philosophies. We will discuss the 6 philosophies. And all the 6 philosophies, they don't mention anything about God. And how it can be Vedic literature? How can you speak something about spirituality without mention of God? And these days it's a fashion. People have this fashion that we are spiritual, but we are not religious. They say that we are spiritual, we are not religious. Not at all possible. How can you be spiritual without speaking about God? What kind of spirituality this is? It's just an humbug. So here, all these philosophers, they make no mention of God. Jaimini declares that Karma Kand part of the Veda is the best. So there are different sections of the Vedas. Jaimini believes in Karma Kand, and he feels that Karma Kand, karma is everything. There is no God. Just do your karma, everything will come. Right? There is nothing as Daiva and God. Ishvara Asiddha Kapilera Kalpanaya Tabu Yoga Mane Artha Bhuja Nahi Yaya. Pseudo Kapila imagines that the existence of God remains unproved. So this is another Jaimini, he believes in Karma Kand. Pseudo Kapila, he believes that existence of God, there is no proof for it. Right? And because there is no proof for it, God doesn't exist. God's existence is of course proved, but the pseudo Kapila has no power to understand that proof. So there are proofs, there are logics, there are praman to understand God. But this pseudo Kapila, he believes that there is no proof. Nagna se tamasa tantra karaya vistar, Vedera viruddha dharma karaye prachar. Nagna is another philosopher. He wrote tantras filled with darkness and ignorance. So this is very famous, tantric vidya, right? Tantra. So these people do all crazy things, right? And they are complete in the mode of darkness. They go and play with spirits, they go to crematoriums, and do all crazy things. This is called Tantra Shastra. And Nagna feels that this is the highest. He preached a philosophy that opposed the Vedas. Nastika Charvaka Kabu Veda Nahi Mane Sugata Bodhera Ek Prakara Bhakane. Nastika, or the atheist Charvaka, did not accept the Vedas authority. So this is the next kind of philosopher who is a Nastik, Charvak Muni. So Charvak Muni had this philosophy that who has seen next life? Yavad jivet sukham jivet. Basmi bhutasya dehasya kim punaragmano bhavet. So he preaches this philosophy that eat, drink and be merry. Keep drinking and eating products of ghee. Even if you have to take loan and enjoy life. Because who has seen life after death? There is nothing as reincarnation. So this was Charvak Muni, complete atheist. And then there's the next rishi called Sugata. Sugata taught the Buddhist theory that all is one. So this is also a big spiritual organization that goes on in this world. Everything is one, right? Everything is the same. Right? So it doesn't work. So this is Buddhist philosophy, oneness, shunyavad. Everything is absolutely one. There is no difference. Right? In fact, in Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once started to eat mud. Actually, he wanted to go to school and his parents were not sending him to school because the elder brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vishwarup, took sannyas and went. So the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath Mishra, was thinking, if I put this person also in school, in Gurukul, he will also get educated and he will also understand the material world is a place of misery. He will also take sannyas. So I don't want him to become a sannyasi. I will not send him to school only. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, he wanted to go to school. So one day he started to eat mud. And his mother told him, Sachi Mata, what are you doing eating mud? Eat this sandesh, this sweet, this is good for you. This mud is not good for you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, why? This sandesh, This is sweet. Where is this sweet coming from? This is coming from milk. And where is milk coming from? The cow is eating grass. Where is grass coming from? Grass is coming from mud. So mud and sandesh both are same. So I will eat mud. In this way, he started to preach impulsive philosophy. So this is how this kind of Buddhist theory, the Mayavad theory, they have this understanding that everything is one. If everything is one, then you keep eating mud. What will happen? Right? You will get nourishment. You will not get nourishment. Sachimata told Nimai Pandit, what are you saying? It is not like this. Sandesh, if you eat, it is good for you. If you eat mud, you will fall sick. You don't understand this. Nimai Pandit said, I don't understand. Until I go to school, how I will understand? Then mother went and told Jagannath Mishra, I think we should send him to school. And then he started to go to school. Gautama Nyayera Karta Ishwara na bhaje Tar hetu vad mate nara matra maje. Gautama taught Nyaya theory. He would not worship the creator God. These are the 6 famous speculative philosophers. So Gautama is another kind of speculative philosopher. He taught Nyaya and he doesn't worship God as the creator. So these are the 6 famous theories, very famous. You will find the 6 darshan philosophers and the 6 kinds of philosophies everywhere. In fact, Srila Prabhupada actually encouraged Bhakti Charu Maharaj to read the 6 philosophies. And one may wonder, here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that these are wrong philosophies. Why should devotee learn? But Prabhupada said a preacher should know. Because when you come face to face with the 6 philosophers, if you don't understand their philosophies, you will not be able to refute them. So actually Prabhupada encouraged Bhakti Charu Maharaj, you should understand the philosophy only to understand that these philosophies are wrong. There's one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Atma Tattva Prabhu. In ISKCON, he does seminars on the 6 philosophies. And he explains very clearly in the beginning that these 6 philosophies I'm teaching you to teach you that these are wrong philosophies and the right philosophy is the philosophy of the Vedic scriptures. E sab matavad dwara shruti ninda haya. By following these speculative philosophies, one comes to blasphemy the Vedic scriptures. So the problem is, if you get into these 6 philosophies and you start to believe in them, you will invariably criticize the Vedas. Because all the 6 philosophies, they directly, indirectly criticize Vyasadeva and the Vedas. Because they feel that Vyasadeva is wrong and they are smarter than Vyasadeva and they have a philosophy better than that. E sab dushta mate shrutira nindana kabu spashta kabu gupta buje vigya jana. All these wicked philosophies, so this word is important, dushta mate. So these are not good philosophies, these are wicked philosophies. Shrutira nindana, they criticize the Vedas. Sometimes they do it openly and sometimes covertly, but the wise know their intentions. So sometimes it's done very directly, criticizing Vedas, sometimes it's done very indirectly. Therefore, we need to be very careful whom we hear from. You may hear Krishna Katha from someone, you may feel that, arey, what difference it makes. You don't know, he may have 99% Krishna Katha, pure bhakti, but 1% he may put Mayavad in it. You will not even come to know. And if you keep hearing it, slowly your heart and your consciousness will get polluted. Your faith in bhakti will start to go away. So therefore, we need to be very, very careful. Just like a gardener who grows a tender creeper, he has to be very careful. If you're not careful, the entire thing will be lost. To grow a plant takes years and years and years. How long it takes to destroy it? 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is enough to destroy 10, 20 years the tree that it must have grown. So similarly, if you're not attentive, if you feel that it's okay, nothing will happen to me, I will hear here, I will hear there, this person, that person, you will be lost. So the wise know their intentions. So those who are wise clearly know that these are wrong philosophies. Ei sab mate thaki aparad haya ateva ei sab tyajibe nishchaya. The followers of these philosophies are all offenders. Therefore, everyone should avoid associating with them. That is certain. So anyone who follows the 6 philosophies, who doesn't follow the Vedas properly, all these people are offenders. So what we should do? Avoid associating with them. Ateva e sabe tyajibe nishchaya. One should make a determined vow. What should be the determined vow? I will not associate with these non-devotees. These are more dangerous. These so-called 6 philosophers and their followers are more dangerous than materialistic people. Because materialistic people, they don't change your faith. They just pollute your consciousness. But these 6 philosophies will destroy your faith only in Vedas. And if your faith only is not there, where you will get free from all contamination? Where will that process be? So these are very, very dangerous. Mayavadi ati dushta mata veda viruddha. So all the 6 philosophers are wicked. But here he explains the next part. Mayavadi ati dushta. Mayavadi is the most dangerous. They are very, very wicked. And they have a philosophy that completely opposes the Vedas. So that's why it is very important for us to stay far away from Mayavadis. Far away from this impersonalists, those who criticize Krishna, criticize the Vedas, criticize devotees. We should stay very, very far away from them. ए सब कुमत चाड़ी आर मायावाद शुद्ध भक्ति अनुभवी हय निर्विवाद. 1 minute. Yeah. In addition to these wicked philosophies, the Mayavad philosophy also opposes pure devotional service. So in addition to the 6, the 7th one we should be careful of is Mayavad philosophy. We have to stay away from these people. Mayavad asat shastra gupta bodha mata vedartha vikriti kali kaleta sammata. The Mayavad philosophy is opposed to true scriptures. Mayavad asat shastra. It is not real scripture. It is asat shastra. It is actually hidden Buddhism. So Buddhism, Shunyavad, Buddhism means everything is zero. There is no God, there is no Atma, there is no reincarnation. They believe that everything is zero, Shunyavad. Mayavad philosophy is also almost hidden Buddhism only. Almost Buddhism, right? So these are philosophies opposing the Vedic scriptures. Vedartha Vikriti, it is perversion of Vedic teachings. Vikriti means the teachings of the Vedas is perverted and twisted. Complete wrong meaning. They just play around with words and twist the meaning. When Krishna tells in the Gita, surrender unto me, the Mayavadis will tell you what Krishna means is surrender unto the Brahman within Krishna. Are Krishna doesn't know Sanskrit. If he had to tell surrender unto the Brahman within me, he wouldn't have mentioned that in Sanskrit. When he's telling surrender unto me, it means surrender unto him only. But the Mayavadis don't accept direct meaning. They want twisted meaning, perverted meaning, Vikriti. And this philosophy, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining here, Kali Kaleta Sammata. It is widely accepted in Kali Yuga. So you go to any spiritual organization, 99.99% are all Mayavadis. Very famous in Kali Yuga. Shuddha Bhakti is very rare. We were discussing this in last week when we were discussing Krishna book in our Saturday Alpha Plaza program. We were discussing this same very example. So Shukdev Goswami is explaining the rainy season in Vrindavan. He explains that in the rainy season, what happens? The clouds cover the sun. And what happens? Glowworms start to come. And the glowworms become the center of attraction. Why? Because the sun, the moon, the stars are all covered. Right? So the glowworm becomes very, very famous. So in Kali Yuga, all this small Mayavad philosophy becomes very famous. But the actual star and moon, the pure devotees, Shuddha Bhakti, no one wants. Everyone is running after this Mayavad philosophy. That is the problem of Kali Yuga. Durbhagya. They are so unfortunate that they just get caught in all these wrong philosophies. Therefore, we should count our fortune every day. We should understand that we are very, very fortunate. Coming out of the net of Maya is very difficult, but more difficult than that is coming out of the net of Mayavadis. We have been somehow rescued. I can tell you, if you are caught in the net of Mayavadis now, once your mind is polluted, very difficult to come out. Next to impossible to come out. You get completely polluted. So it's Krishna's unlimited grace that we have been saved from that. So we have to be very, very careful, because this is very prominent in Kali Yuga. You open any so-called spiritual book, you may feel that, Arey, this is also okay, it's helping me. But when that little poison of Mayavad will get into our system, we will not have any clue. Umapati Brahmana Rupete Prakashila Tomara Agyaya Tena Acharya Haila. So this comes actually in the Padma Puran. Who is Shankaracharya? Shankaracharya is the one who started Mayavad philosophy. Who is Shankaracharya? Shankaracharya is actually Lord Shiva only. So Lord Shiva tells Parvati that I will come in Kali Yuga as a Brahmana and teach a wrong philosophy in order to cheat people. So Mayavad philosophy is actually cheating. So here Bhaktivinoda Haridas Thakur is telling Lord Chaitanya, assuming the form of a Brahmana, Lord Shiva taught this philosophy. Who this Brahmana is? Shankaracharya. On your order, he became a great teacher of it. So Shankaracharya is a devotee of Krishna. There is no doubt about it. He is Lord Shiva. Shiva is Vaishnavana Yata Shambhu. He is the greatest devotee. But he had to do that for that particular time. You see, certain religions or certain philosophies are stopgap solutions. Because, we do an entire class called Evolution of Theism. Because at one point, people were killing animals in the name of Vedic sacrifice, Gomed Yagya, Shomed Yagya. So the Lord became very compassionate on these animals and came as Buddha and stopped animal killing. Ahimsa, hi paramo dharmo. But then when people started to tell that it is mentioned in the Vedas, animal killing, so Lord Buddha said, forget the Vedas. Don't talk about Vedas. So he removed Vedas entirely out of India because he just wanted to stop animal killing. That was his only business. Lord Buddha came, did that and went. Now Shankaracharya is sent by Krishna only as Lord Shiva comes as Shankaracharya and he brings the Vedas back. But because he cannot teach anything very much different than Buddhism, he almost teaches Buddhism only, but he just brings Vedas back. That's all. He does his part and goes. So Shankaracharya is a devotee of the Lord who does his little part and go. And then Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, all these people come and establish pure bhakti. Jaimini e rupa muke vedar matra mane Shrutira vikrita artha jagate bhakane. Mayavadi guru se rupa bodha dharma veda vakya stapi achadila bhakti marma. As Jaimini gave a perverted explanation of the Vedas to the world, so did the original teacher of the Mayavadis. So Jaimini also gave perverted version, Vikriti, and Shankaracharya also gave a perverted version. Concealing the descriptions of devotional service that are the actual heart of the Vedas words, he taught a philosophy identical with Buddhism. So what is the heart of the Vedas? What is the spirit of the Vedas? Bhakti. Vedanta, the conclusion of Vedas is Bhakti. That is the conclusion. But Shankaracharya, without touching that Bhakti aspect, he started to teach some pseudo-Buddhism, almost identical to Buddhism, that kind of philosophy. So there is a footnote here. Ashtavakra, Pseudo Dattatreya, Govinda Muni, Gaurapada, Shankara, the followers of Shankara, the Jara Mimansakas are example of Mayavadi gurus. So it's not only Shankaracharya. Here he is giving a lot of example of Mayavadi gurus. Ashtavakra Muni, another example. Pseudo Dattatreya, not Dattatreya. There is one more Pseudo Dattatreya. Govinda Muni, Gaurapada, Shankara. Mimansaka, these are all Mayavadi gurus. The attainment of nirvana is the primary teaching of Buddhism. So Buddhism means nirvana, liberation. They call nirvana. But what is nirvana? Nirvana means losing your existence. Although they do not believe in the existence of Brahman, the Buddhists teach that the highest spiritual attainment is merging into void. A condition identical with the Mayavadis merging into qualityless Brahman. So Buddhism, the aim of Buddhism is nirvana. And what is nirvana? Becoming one with zero. Matlab, becoming one with void. I mean, what kind of understanding this is? We have an understanding of God. Krishna was a beautiful form. The Buddhist understanding of God is voidism. Shunyavad. Everything is just void. That's the understanding. And what is Mayavad understanding? Becoming one with qualityless Brahman. Brahman, Ranganathan was asking this question of Vishishta Advaita. Brahman has variety, has quality, but the Mayavadis think that Brahman has no quality. We have qualities, Brahman doesn't have qualities. Both these philosophies are very opposed to eternal devotional service. So these are completely against bhakti. E sab matavade bhakti dure yaya Shri Krishna namete jive aparadha paya. All these speculative philosophies reject devotional service and throw it far away. So if you are following any of these philosophies, the 6 philosophies or Mayavad philosophy, all these philosophies reject bhakti and throw it far away. The followers of these philosophies commit an offense to the holy name of Krishna. Finish. If you are a Mayavadi, that means you are Krishna Aparadhi. That's all. The Mayavadis who accept this philosophy and somehow chant the holy name commit an offense to the holy name. So the Mayavadis also chant Hare Krishna. They also chant the holy name. But their chanting is full of offenses. Full of offenses. It is not Shuddha Naam. It is filled with offenses. It's very, very detrimental to bhakti. So because Krishna, Nama Chintamani Krishna, Nama Namino Abhindatvam, Krishna and the name are not different. So if you chant Hare Krishna and if you follow Mayavad philosophy, that same Krishna in the form of the holy name will punish you. So all the Mayavadis will definitely get punished by Krishna in the form of the holy name. So therefore, one should stay away from all the wrong philosophies and follow the philosophy of pure bhakti. So we will continue from this point on, from text 46, the next time. Anyone has any questions, any comments, you all can raise your hands. I'm sorry if it was very technical, but if you all go through it again patiently, you all will understand. It's technical. Yeah, it is technical, but these topics are like very, very important, right? Like very, very crucial for all of us. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Our sampradaya is known as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Now, Madhvacharya's teachings and our teachings are slightly different. In the sense, in Udupi, I don't see anybody chanting the holy name. Or they don't have a mala with them, they don't do that. So our priority is for chanting the holy name. And also they don't speak much about Radharani. Radha Krishna is not worshipped there. And there could be other differences. So, but still we consider Udupi to be a place where we should learn a lot of things from. And then there are also advices that we should not be hearing too much of Udupi preachings. Our preachings are a little different. And we don't, they consider Vaikuntha as the supreme. And we say within Vaikuntha, Golok Vrindavan is supreme. So these are the differences that we have, I mean, at least I have noticed. Can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, what you mentioned is a fact, Prabhuji. So even though we are there in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, but so this is what, when Madhavendra Puri comes, so the one of the in the disciplic succession of Madhvacharya, Madhavendra Puri comes. So when Madhavendra Puri comes, he brings in Radha Krishna worship. He brings in the Radha Krishna worship there, and then in that same parampara, Lord Chaitanya also comes and then continues on this tradition. So definitely, yes, there are some differences between the Madhva line and the Gaudiya line. There are certain differences. The goal, Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan is different. Yes, Radha Krishna and Krishna's worship is a little different there. The Madhvacharyas, there is no priority to worship. Radharani is not given. In our Gaudiya Sampradaya, Radharani is considered to be everything for all of us. So there are certain differences. The mood is slightly different. That's why Lord Chaitanya, because he's that Supreme Lord Krishna himself who comes as a devotee, he took the essence of all sampradayas. He took two teachings from each sampradaya and he incorporated into the Gaudiya Vaishnava line. So, I was explaining this evolution of theism, right? So, Buddha comes when people start to do animal killing. Buddha comes to stop it. And then Shankaracharya comes, he brings in the Vedas. But then because that is not the highest teaching of the Vedas, then Ramanujacharya come, Madhvacharya come, they establish bhakti, pure bhakti. But even in pure bhakti, there are different levels. And the highest level of pure bhakti is the bhakti of the Vrajavasis, the bhakti of the Gopis, the bhakti of Vrindavan. And that understanding is given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the contribution of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's taken the process of bhakti to the highest level. So Shuddha Bhakti also, there are various levels. He's taken it to that highest level and he's given us. He's taken the essence of all the sampradayas. Even though he was there in the Madhva Sampradaya, he could have taken initiation in any of the four sampradayas. Lord Chaitanya decided to take initiation in the Madhva Sampradaya. Prominently, it is explained because Madhvacharya was very famous for his strong opposition to Mayavad. He would strongly condemn Mayavad. Only for that reason, Lord Chaitanya took initiation in the Madhva line. But then Lord Chaitanya took two teachings from each of the sampradaya and then incorporated into the Gaudiya Vaishnava line. That is why in the Chaitanya Gaudiya Math in Mayapur, the Gaudiya Math where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was doing his bhajan, you will find that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has put the deities of all the four acharyas, Ramanucharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Vishnu Swami, all the four acharyas are there. And Lord Chaitanya has incorporated all the teachings in Gaudiya Vaishnava line. So in one sense, yeah, you can say that there is difference also. But in one sense, this was how it should be. Madhvacharya came to do his particular role, to teach that particular aspect of bhakti. And then he left it for Lord Chaitanya to come and take it to that next highest level.
Yeah, particularly what is obvious is Kanakdas is though Kanakdas is saying that Nama Sankirtan is very important, Nama is important, but that's not very much seen in Udupi.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that way, I can tell you about even Sri Sampradaya. I mean, even in Sri Sampradaya, so many of the teachings of Ramanuja are not exactly followed by the followers. It gets a little diluted. So I think, as I told you, I think we should all be very grateful to what Srila Prabhupada has given us.
Yes.
Because, it's given us, even the practice is pure and the teachings is also pure. In the Madhva line and the Sri Sampradaya line also, the teachings may be pure, but those who are practicing it, they may not be very pure. They may not be very pure. I know in the Sri Sampradaya, there are so many people who still drink tea and coffee. They really don't mind it. There's so many things that are compromised. I think it is the grace of Srila Prabhupada that we have got this unalloyed pure teaching and following basically.
Even in Madhva Sampradaya, drinking tea and other things is still followed, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else has any questions, any comments? Okay, you all can, if no questions, please go through this chapter. Just one small part is left. We will definitely complete it the next time. So please go through this so that things become a little more clearer for you. Thank you for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna.